Okay, so let's start with a question, and it's probably one you've never really stopped to ask yourself. Not, how does my mind work, but what is it? What is this thing, this feeling of being you? It's honestly the most fundamental question there is, because it's the foundation of every single experience you've ever had.
So, yeah, that's what we're going to dive into. It's one of the oldest and most profound questions humanity has ever grappled with. What is this constant stream of awareness that's happening behind our eyes? What is the mind, really? Okay, first things first, let's get our terms straight, because we tend to just lump these three words together, but they are completely different layers of who we are. Think of it like this: the brain. That's the physical hardware. It's about 1.3 kilograms of wet tissue, neurons, chemicals. The mind, then, is the software running on that hardware, all the processes of thinking, remembering, and deciding. And consciousness? Well, that's the user experience. It's the raw, subjective feeling of being aware at all. So, if we're going to understand the mind, we've got to start with the machine it runs on. Let's take a look inside that 1.3 kilogram organ.
So you look inside that organ, and this is what you find: 86 billion neurons. To put that into perspective for you, that is more than the number of stars in our galaxy. And every single one connects to thousands of others, creating this web with just trillions of pathways. I mean, the complexity, it's just staggering.
So, how does all of that, this massive, tangled network, actually create something like a thought? Well, it's this incredible cascade, really. An electrical signal fires down a single neuron, it hits a microscopic gap, a synapse, and jumps across using these little chemical messengers. Now, when millions of these signals synchronize, firing in a coherent pattern, a thought just emerges. It's like an orchestra of 86 billion musicians all playing a single, fleeting note together.
And then you've got this whole other layer, the chemistry, that literally colors our entire experience. Every thought you've ever had was just soaked in these neurotransmitters. Dopamine isn't just about reward. It's that feeling of anticipation that drives you to do things. Serotonin shapes your entire mood, how you see the world. And GABA, that's the crucial braking system, keeping the whole thing from just running wild. The point is, your mind is never chemically neutral. But, why? Why did this ridiculously complex biological machine even evolve in the first place? It wasn't to write poetry or to solve math problems. Nope. It evolved for one primary reason: survival. The mind is a tool, and it's designed to give us a predictive advantage. Okay, just for a second, imagine an organism that doesn't have a mind. It can only react. Every single danger it encounters has to be faced head-on, right there in the moment. Every mistake is paid for in full, and that price is often its life. There's no practice run, no imagining a better strategy. But with a mind, suddenly you get this incredible advantage. You get an internal testing ground. Dangers can be simulated, futures can be rehearsed, and fatal mistakes can be made over and over again without ever having to suffer the real-world consequences. And this quote just captures the whole idea perfectly. The mind isn't some luxury add-on. It's the original VR system. It's the only one where the cost of a failed simulation wasn't losing points in a game, but losing life itself. All right, so we've got the hardware, the brain, we've got the survival software, the mind, but what about the user? What about that feeling of being you that's experiencing all this? This is where we get into the really deep, really mysterious territory of consciousness and the self. And this is the central question that stumps everyone, from philosophers to neuroscientists. It's often called the hard problem. We can track the neurons firing, we can measure the chemicals flowing, but why does any of that physical stuff feel like anything at all? Why isn't it all just happening in the dark, without any subjective experience attached to it? And that, of course, leads to an even more, a more unsettling question, really. That constant sense of a single, continuous you sitting behind your eyes, the one who's pulling all the levers. What if it's not actually there? The philosopher David Hume pointed this out centuries ago. He basically said that when you try to look inward to find this solid self, you can't. You don't find a thing, a core you. All you find is a constant stream of perceptions, thoughts, and feelings. There's no little person sitting in a control room. And this is where a lot of modern thinking is at. The self isn't a concrete thing, but a very, very useful narrative. It's a story the mind is constantly telling itself to organize all our chaotic experiences and create a sense of continuity from one moment to the next. It's a functional story for sure, but it might not be as solid as it feels. So all of this brings us back to where we started. This isn't some new question we've just cooked up. The search for the nature of the mind is this profound, ongoing mystery that humanity has been grappling with for thousands and thousands of years. And this search has spanned millennia. I mean, you have Plato in ancient Greece seeing the mind as a soul with three parts. Then you jump to the 1600s and you've got Descartes finding his one point of certainty in the simple act of thinking. I think, therefore I am. Later, William James saw consciousness not as a solid thing, but as a stream. And now, today, neuroscience offers this beautifully simple, yet deeply complex idea. The mind is simply what the brain does. And that really gets to the fundamental challenge here, doesn't it? The very tool we are using to investigate the mind is the mind. It's like a mirror trying to reflect itself. It's a system trying to understand its own operating system from the inside out. So that's the ultimate question we're left with, isn't it? A flashlight can't illuminate its own light bulb. The eye cannot see itself. Maybe the mind was primarily designed for survival, not to fully comprehend its own nature. Will we ever get it completely? You know, maybe the final answer isn't some neat and tidy definition we can write down in a textbook. Maybe the deepest kind of understanding isn't something to be solved, but something to be felt. It's that quiet, continuous awe of realizing that you, right now, are living inside one of the universe's greatest mysteries.